Good evening and welcome to the Southbridge Town Council meeting of Monday, September 14th, 2020 at 7 p.m. This meeting is being conducted by remote participation. In calling this meeting to order pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Town Council is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in this order. A reminder that persons who would like to view this meeting while in progress may do so by watching Southbridge Cable Access Channel 192 or by the remote information noted below. We will post a record of this meeting on the town's website at www.ci.southbridge.ma.us as soon as we're able to. For those people in the public that wish to participate and would like to call in, you may do so by calling in on 872-240-3212 and use access code 964-525-517. This information is posted on the meeting notice on our website. A reminder that a roll call vote is required for all votes taken under this order. At this time, all councilors will be participating remotely and will be subject to the roll call when we take the roll. At this time, we will do the Pledge of Allegiance. So please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, Madam Secretary.
Councillor Adams.
Present.
Councillor Catrona.
Present.
Daniel.
Present.
Councillor Dowd.
He's excused.
Councillor Jovan.
Present.
Councillor Lazo.
Excused.
Councillor Marquetti.
Present.
Councillor Ryan.
Present.
And Councillor Steves.
Present.
We have a quorum. Item 3, considering accept the Town Council meeting minutes of Monday, August 31st, 2020. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I believe that was Councilor Ryan that moved it. Seconded by Councilor Adams. Any errors, corrections, or omissions? I'll start with Councilor Adams. Anything?
Nothing.
Thank you. Councilor Steves?
Just a couple of quick spite typos under agenda item number 5. Smick is SMICK and Michael McCall AE. That's all I saw.
Thank you. Councilor Daniel? All set?
All set. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Marquetti?
I'm good, thanks.
Thank you. Councilor Catrona?
All set.
Councilor Ryan?
All set.
Okay. Roll call to accept the minutes as amended with those grammatical corrections.
Councillor Catrona.
Yes.
Councillor Daniel.
Yes.
Councillor Jovan.
Yes.
Councillor Marquetti.
Yes.
Councillor Ryan.
Yeah.
Councillor Steves.
Yes.
And Councillor Adams.
Yes.
Motion carries. Subcommittee reports, General Government, Councilor Steves.
I have not had a meeting recently. I don't have one yet scheduled, although I was talking to Yvonne about having one sometime in the near future, but I don't have a date for it yet.
Thank you. Department of Public Works, Councilor Marquetti.
Thank you. I haven't had any meetings scheduled recently, but I haven't held any meetings recently, but I have a meeting scheduled for September 23rd, 7 p.m. at the Police Community Room. On the agenda will be the Pavement Management Study, Committee Priorities, and Funding We may take a possible vote on that to recommend to council what we want to do with regard to road improvement. Heather, I believe Heather's going to update us on Brentwood, Prospect, and Marsh Avenue paving projects and the Main Street intersection project. So that's September 23rd, 7 p.m., the Police Community Room. Thank you.
Thank you. Education and Human Services, Council Catrona.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No meetings held. We have a meeting scheduled for Tuesday, September 15th, 6 p.m. at the community room. Thank you.
Thank you. Planning and Development, Council Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. We had a meeting on September 9th. Agenda item number 11 is on here tonight. It pertains to P&D. There are none. I do not have a P&D scheduled, but I foresee one happening in the next couple of weeks. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Protection of Persons and Property is Council Lazo. Did have a meeting on September 9th, 2020. There are a couple appointments here on the agenda and a couple items on the agenda. And we can speak to those when they come forward. Item 5, Special Committee Reports, Curbside Advisory Committee, Council Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. Just to bring up, I did send an email to the town manager later on this afternoon, so I'm sure he hasn't had time to take a look at it yet. Requested a date to meet up with him. And once we meet, I'll set up a time and date with you to either do a council of the whole special town council or do a presentation at a regular town council meeting. So
Thank you. COVID-19 Public Health Safety Briefing. We are not having any emergency operations center meetings at this time. The community has moved into the white area, I believe, as of now. So we'll keep that pending on the agenda. Chairman's announcements. First, I'd like to welcome Town Manager Michael McCall to the council first meeting. I know he's participated as a observer in other meetings. So we'd like to thank you and welcome you to the town of Southbridge. We look forward to working with you throughout this year and for many years to come. So welcome. To the community, school open today, so I will make sure that you're using caution in the school zones. Hopefully the school opening went well with the different models that being presented. We just ask that all residents, I'm asking all residents, just maintain those safety precautions, social distancing, and adhering to all the regulations that the school has put in place, because we want to continue to operate in that white area and continue to be a safe community for all of us, so that we can continue to work our way through the pandemic. And with that, I'd just like to, and I'm not sure how my subcommittee chairman, and I'll talk to you individually, but really as a council, we had voted to not have any in-person meetings due to, it was going to be all remote for 60 days. I know some subcommittees have posted in-person meetings, however, need to review the limitations that each room has for the number of people that can be in a room. Because while the public body can meet, we still have to adhere to the social distancing guidelines, as well as the number of people that are in a room. And we also know that the hybrid meetings do not work. And the open meeting law is very clear, and the guidance that we received is very clear that it has to be a truly transparent meeting. And if individuals cannot hear the councils, that's why we went back to this remote model. I don't like it. I know a councilor had indicated to me, well, if we're having kids go to school and telling them to be in the school, we should be meeting in public. Yes, it's true, kids are going to school, but there's limitations on number of kids that can be in a bus, number of kids that can be in the classroom, number of kids that got the lunch. So there's all regulations, and we should set that example and follow those regulations. So I reached out to us, Chairman. I know you have some meetings scheduled, but we really should be doing them remotely until we can come up with a good process, if we can do a hybrid at all. So that is all I have this evening on Chairman's announcements, and I'll now turn it over to our new town manager, Mr. McCall. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have no specific announcements. This has been my first real week. I think it's gone well. I've had a chance to talk to all the counselors before I came on board, and I've been making my way around the town hall, meeting with the various department heads, and getting caught up on a lot of the issues in town. And I'm very excited to be here and looking forward to working with all the council and all the residents of Southbridge for this year and the year to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Presentation swearing in, we have none. Citizens forum, is there anyone out there remotely that wishes to address the town council? I see 2 callers that are not identified, but anyone? Anything that's on the agenda? Okay, seeing none. Item 10, vote to approve a transfer from project number 67900, landfill royalties, to project number 9105, special appropriation town manager landfill legal, and the amount of $100,000 to cover invoices dealing with the well water issues at the landfill. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I have Councilor Ryan moving that question, Councilor Daniel seconding. Discussion. Councilor Catrona, did you have a
Mr.
question?
Chairman, yes, through you. Can you tell us, or can the town manager tell us the remaining balance in the account?
That would be the landfill royalty account?
Yes.
Mr.
Comment?
Chairman, through you to Councilor Catrona, I do not have that information with me this evening, but I'd be more than happy to get that through the town accountant and email it to you.
Thank you. I would appreciate it. We originally, thank you, Mr. Chairman, again, can continue. That money was originally set aside for the town to use. Now we're spending quite a bit of this money on attorney fees. Is that's my understanding correct?
If I'll can answer on behalf of town manager. These monies, council, are being reimbursed by the insurance company, so they're coming
Okay.
right back to us. So
Okay,
that's
thank you.
they're being reimbursed.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Steves.
Yeah, just a quick question. I know that they're being reimbursed. Why don't we set this up as a revolving fund for this particular purpose and just have the money keep coming back to the same revolving fund so we don't have to keep taking it out of the account? Could we do that?
I did ask Karen that question when this came up, and I believe she said for the accounting purposes it had to be done this way, that she couldn't set up a revolving fund for it. But we can follow up with her, but that was my understanding.
Okay. And how much have we spent from this legal fund since the last time we put funds into it? I think it was $100,000 in, I don't know, like 6 months ago or something like that.
Yeah, I don't have that. Mr. Town Manager, do you happen to have that number? I don't think.
No, but
Karen's on.
when I get the numbers for Councilor Catrona, I can get that information for Councilor Steves as well.
Yeah, if you could just send it to everybody, that'd be great. Is Karen on the call?
I do not see her now.
I don't see her either. Okay.
Okay. All right. Any further questions? Comments? All right. Council Marquetti?
When I look at this piece of paper with the money, the $100,000, to turn it over, it says we have a shortfall. So I hope that we are being reimbursed for all of this. If we are, then they owe us some money, I'd say. Thank you.
Yes, that's why it's on a reimbursement. It's on a reimbursement basis. So that's why we're being reimbursed by that account.
Thank you. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further? Seeing none, roll call?
Councilor Daniel,
Yes.
Councilor Jovan,
Yes.
Councilor Marquetti,
Yes.
Councilor Ryan,
Yes.
Councilor Steves,
Yes.
Councilor Adams,
Yes.
and Councilor Catrona.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item 11, vote to confirm the appointment of Catherine Bernardone as a citizen member to the Plan and Development Subcommittee, effective immediately through July 31st, 2021, or until another one is appointed and upon completion of the state ethics training. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Adams, second by Councilor Daniel. Councilor Adams, this came through your subcommittee?
It did. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, it was unanimously voted 3-0 in favor of. Catherine is online right now as well, so I'll give her a second if she wants to speak here in a second. But I wanted to kind of give everybody a brief. Everybody got her interest form. She is a registered nurse, and she was born and raised here in the town of Southbridge. One thing that we discussed in length, I would say pretty quickly the other night, was the fact that there was kind of a lack of experience as far as municipality experience is concerned. But that doesn't sway me as far as the chair from nominating her for this subcommittee. I think her and I have talked extensively over the last few weeks about what she would like to see, and then educated her on what is actually happening in the town itself, so she has a better idea if the town council chooses to confirm her this evening. I do want to thank her for volunteering for this position, and I like the fact that it is kind of new blood in here, and it brings about new ideas for the town, which I really appreciate, and which I think a lot of us would like to see as well within our town. But besides that, I highly recommend her for this subcommittee, and if confirmed, this will be the last citizen member that we need for this for the P&D. Didn't know if you want me to pass that on to Catherine at all, Mr. Chair, or to
I'm
Everybody,
sorry, my computer.
sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. My computer froze up, so go ahead.
Sorry. Hi, everybody. Thank
Hi,
you.
Mr. Arundel.
Yes, thank you. Nice to meet everybody and see everyone. So yes, I'm thrilled to be nominated for this position and to volunteer and help the town. I think it would be a great experience for me and to help everybody. And it'll be nice to work and meet with new people.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, comments?
Not at this time.
Okay, Councilor Steves?
I just want to quickly say thank you for putting your name in and joining taking a step forward and then being part of the board. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. See no others? Roll call?
Counselor Jovan,
Yes.
Counselor Marquetti,
Yes.
Counselor Ryan.
Yes.
Counselor Steves,
Yes.
Counselor Adams,
yes.
Counselor Catrona,
Yes.
and Counselor Daniel.
Yes.
Thank you. Congratulations, Catherine. We look forward to working with you throughout the year.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a
Item
good night.
12.
Thank
too.
you. Yeah, good night.
Item 12, vote to confirm the appointment of Stephen Lazo as a citizen member to the Department of Public Works Subcommittee effective immediately through July 31st, 2021, until another one is appointed. This was a direct request of the DPW Subcommittee Chair, Michael Marquetti. No, state ethics is in good standing. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, a motion. Okay, motion and a second. Councilor Marquetti?
Yeah, Steve Lazo has served on this subcommittee before. He was on the subcommittee last year when I first got on, and I think he'd be, I'm glad to see that he's put his name forward to continue. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Councilor Steves?
No, just to reiterate, he's actually been at subcommittee for several years now. Yes, as most people here know, he was also a town councilor for several years, and he's got a lot of experience in his background in construction related background. It certainly has been helpful for DPW for a long time. So I'm definitely
Yeah, it
supportive.
certainly has.
Well said,
Well,
Council.
thank him for continued service to the town. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Counselor Marquetti,
Yes.
Counselor Ryan,
Yes.
Counselor Steves,
Yes.
Counselor Adams,
Yes.
Counselor Catrona,
Yes.
Counselor Daniel,
Yes.
and Counselor Jovan.
Yes. Item 13, vote to confirm the appointment of Jennifer Killian to the Commission of Disability effective immediately through June 30th, 2023, and then pending completion of the state ethics training. This was a direct request of the Education and Human Services Subcommittee Chair, Joseph Catrona. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Council Ryan, second by Council Adams. I'll refer this to Subcommittee Chairman Catrona.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you, I believe her application and her experience will speak for itself. Thank you.
Thank you. Council Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. So I posted these boards and committees and subcommittees on social media, and Jennifer actually responded to me via Messenger. She asked specific questions about the Disability Commission, asked if she had to be disabled or have a loved one that may be disabled. At that point in time, I reached out to the town, and they had what they were required to have as far as that was concerned. She showed a lot of interest in two boards here, and this seemed to be one that fit her dimension and her needs, and I just want to say thank you to her for volunteering as well. And that's all I have at this point. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, I believe she might still be on. I know she sent me a message. Jen, are you still on? Okay. Mr. Town Manager, do you have any information to add in this?
Not at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I do know that conversation with the Executive Secretary Yvonne, she did state that the Disability Commission did need some new members. That Sergeant Redekers, who is the chair, I believe, of that, is running with a limited group. So we thank Jennifer for putting her name forward, and look forward to her work with that committee. Is there any further questions, comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Counselor Ryan,
Yes.
Counselor Steves,
Yes.
Counselor Adams,
Yes.
Counselor Catrona,
Yes.
Counselor Daniel,
Yes.
Counselor Jovan,
Yes.
and Counselor Marquette.
Yes.
Okay, welcome, Jennifer. Thank you. Look forward to working with you. Item 14, vote to confirm the appointment of Natalie Adams to the Council of Aging, effective immediately through June 30th, 2023, pending completion of the state ethics training. Direct request of the Education and Human Services Subcommittee Chair, Joseph Catrona. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Motion by Council Ryan, seconded by Council Catrona. Council Catrona?
Not much to add, Mr. Chairman. As the subcommittee, I've requested these to be placed on the agenda. Again, the application, I believe, speaks for itself. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Seeing none. Roll call.
Counselor Steves,
Yes.
Counselor Adams,
Abstain.
Counselor Catrona,
Yes.
Counselor Daniel,
Yes.
Counselor Jovan,
Yes.
Counselor Marquette,
Yes.
and Counselor Ryan.
Yeah.
Thank Natalie for putting her name forward. I look forward to working with other Adams on town business. So welcome, Natalie. Item 15, vote to confirm the reappointment of Councilor David Adams as the town manager, town council delegate to the Central Massachusetts Regional Planning Commission, effective immediately through June 30th, 2021. State ethics is in good standing. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Catrona, seconded by Councilor Steves. This was an appointment we made last year to put Councilor Adams on that. He was the council that expressed interest. This would be the reappointment to that board. Any questions, comments? Councilor Steves?
Yeah, through you to Dave. Just a good question is, so what kind of stuff have you seen over there so far?
So there hasn't been much information flow as far as since the COVID kicked in. There has been a couple of meetings, but I also do know that they have provided regional help when it came to grant writing for the COVID. They also provided update, I believe, here in the next few days. I forgot the date, but they are talking about the WRTA and Southbridge itself as far as helping move them along within our town and the different routes that are there. One thing I did notice, and I failed to follow up because I know Councilor Marquetti brought this up last year, but I took a look at to see where our delegate names were, and they're still not on there on that website. So I will follow up to make sure that actually happens as well. When it comes to GIS, I do know that they have helped the town out tremendously through Eric. I do know they're trying to push now for more meetings remotely. I know we have a couple of Zoom meetings. One is a meeting on the 24th, not through CMRPC, but CMMPO, as far as that's concerned. And that's pretty much it at this point in time. I know they've been drilling directly more so with Rosemary, by the way.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, any further discussion on this one?
I have a statement, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Councilor Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. I want to be clear. I have no problem with Dave going forward, but I would just have a request for next year. I get that he was the appointment last year, but we have new counselors and we're a new board this year. So going forward on the next appointment, this time is up because it's an annual appointment. I would appreciate if counselors got a notification beforehand, so that way if there were other counselors interested, they could submit their letter of interest or let the chair know.
Okay, I duly noted. It's not my recommendation, and we just put that name forward through the town manager's office. So we can work on that process next year, as well as possible other boards and commissions that may require town. And I heard of today was the WITA as well. So we can look at a process through general government on how to perhaps fill those slots moving forward. That slot last year was open for a number of years with no delegate being appointed, and that was something we pushed for. He's the chairman of the Plan and Development, so that's, I think, why we pushed it to the chairman of the Plan and Development Committee. But definitely something through general government, we could talk about a process on how we fill those for council or town manager stand-ins for that on the local government side. So it's duly noted, Councilor Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any other discussion? So we'll move the process over to Council Steves, but in the meantime, on this reappointment, roll call.
Counselor Adams,
See,
Counselor Catrona,
Yes.
Counselor Daniel,
Yes.
Counselor Jovan,
Yes.
Counselor Marquetti,
Yes.
Counselor Ryan,
Yes.
and Counselor Steves.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item 16, vote to confirm the appointment of Robert Barrett III as a full-time firefighter EMT with the town of Southbridge upon successful completion of all medical and physical agility tests and pending completion of the state ethics training. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
second.
Okay, motion by Councilor Ryan, second by Councilor Adams. Mr. Town Manager, I guess if you have something to introduce first. I know this is your first meeting. Usually the Town Manager will introduce it. If not, we'll go to the Fire Chief.
I have no problem deferring to Chief Norman. However, I would just say that I did attend the PPP subcommittee meeting the other evening, and the candidate, Robert Barrett, was there, introduced himself to the committee. The chief put forward his background, which seemed more than appropriate in his training. So at this point, I would turn it over to Chief Norman for his.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Town Manager. Chief Norman?
Yes, good evening, everybody. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Town Manager, thank you. Mr. Barrett is on live here tonight. He is on one of the video screens here. So as we complete just my little description here, very similar to what we did at the subcommittee meeting. You feel free to ask Mr. Barrett any questions moving forward. But to start off, is basically, as you all very well know, is that we have a process that was set back many, many years ago, and we've adapted that process to today's hiring for Mr. Barrett to be put on board. In early June of this past year, a vacant firefighter position was created when we had a 12-year member leave to go to another community. We put out the applications shortly after that, actually days after that person gave us a notice. We received 30 applications. The applicants were reviewed, and 21 peer interviews were scheduled for July 22nd. one internal candidate was unable to participate due to a scheduling conflict, and there were 3 no-call, no-shows. The peer interviews were conducted by a 5-member panel within the fire department staff. We did have one outside person come out from another department just for having a very outside peer review process. Of the 17 remaining candidates after that 21, 12 were scheduled for fire and EMS skills stations evaluations on July 29th. Again, the fire department put together, the staff put together some training evolutions for fire and EMS stations. Of those 12 candidates, 5 were identified and they were pushed on to the final interview process. The final candidates interviews were conducted by myself, Deputy Chief Hulick, and the Human Resource Specialist, Kim Fern, on August 28th. It was unanimously decided through the whole process to offer, pending your approval, the position to Robert Barrett III, who has accepted at this point. And like the manager did say, that he did show up at the PPP. Just a little bit of background about Robert. He currently resides in Fitchburg and currently works as a full-time firefighter EMT in Boxborough. He definitely showed a high degree of integrity, responsibility, and ambition towards being a firefighter EMT. He's currently nearly completed his paramedic licensure. So that's where we were with the position. We lost a paramedic, so we're bringing a paramedic in. He will complete that hopefully March of 2021, pending any other delays. And again, if COVID does come back amongst us. A complete background check has been performed by the Southbridge Police Department, and there were no areas of concern. Again, PPP has moved it forward, and I would like to recommend to the council Robert Barrett III to be appointed to the open firefighters position. Obviously, this is bearing the PAT, which is a physical agility test, and a medical physical. The Career Fire Academy will be set up as soon as we pass those few things. And dates for those are either at the end of this year and in the spring of next year. So that's my report. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Council Steves?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to the chief. The one question that I have, the primary question I have, is that Fitchburg is well outside the 15-mile radius. How are we going to deal with that? I don't know if you want to answer that or if Mr. Barrett wants to answer it. Doesn't matter to me.
Go ahead, Chief. First.
I'll as you very well know, and Gus, who bring this up, is that definitely is a 15-mile radius. I've had spoken with Mr. Barrett previous to giving him the opportunity to take the job. I'll let him explain where he's at with that process.
Sir, and just for the record, Councilor Steves, he did indicate during the PPP question was answered at that meeting as well. So I'll let him reiterate for the community as well for that answer, but he did provide an answer at that meeting. Okay.
Thanks.
Go ahead, Mr. Barrett. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, councilors. Yeah, my wife and I have been looking at property in the Lebanon Hill area, as well as the Crescent Street area. And we looked at a couple properties, I believe on Oak Street. Obviously pending approval tonight, I'll move more forward with setting up actual tours of that property. We've just kind of been browsing Zillow at this time for properties in the surrounding areas.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any other questions from anybody? Councilor Ryan, did you have anything?
Nothing at this time, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Councilor Marchetti?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to the fire chief. Last year in July, you hired 2 firefighters, Michael Haslam and Jason Kelly. And now you told me at that meeting that you had 20 firefighters, and I looked on your website today, you only have 19. So I'm assuming that he's replacing a firefighter that left, correct?
Through the chair to Councilor Marchetti. That is correct.
Okay, thank you. Now, is this position or any of these positions being covered under the SAFER grant?
No, they're not. We do not have the SAFER grant.
Well, I thought we voted on it last year, SAFER grant.
So, Mr. Chair, if you don't mind, I'll continue on with the SAFER grant.
Yep, go ahead, sir.
Over the last 2 years, we've applied for the SAFER grant. What came in front of the council was the ability for the council to support the SAFER grant as we move forward if we did get selected for those positions that we put in for. We are currently, to give you up to date right now, we are currently in either round 5 or 6 right now of the SAFER grants being granted, and we still have been not notified. So fingers crossed, and we'll continue to move forward and wait for those positions to become available.
Okay, thank you. And the SAFER grant, it starts when they accept you. So I imagine this year is kind of like a bust really on the SAFER grants. I'm guessing because of the COVID. So doubt if anybody's, I don't know what you think about that, but even if we got it this year, I don't know if it would be extended into next year. They're only good for 2 years, right? The third year you have to pay for it yourself.
Correction, the third, it goes for 3 years, 1 through 3 years. The 4th year, we pay for it ourselves.
4th year.
I do have some personal feelings in regards to the SAFER grant where we are today, but I'm just going to remain hopeful.
Okay. So this is just to replace someone that's left then. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilor Adams, did you have something? All right.
No, Councilor Steves asked that same question. Thank you.
Okay, I just saw your hand. Any other comments? The only question that I had, and I forgot to ask you the other night, Chief, based on the other interviews, did that establish your list for any future positions that might become vacant over the next year?
That is correct, Chairman. We have currently 4 people that remain on that list. And of course, we did 12 initially, but 4 are interview process with myself and the deputy. And then we can pull from the remaining 7 that we have that we did not interview fully. So we do have a list that's about 12 people right now.
Okay, thank you. To the candidate, I know PPP meeting, just for the record, PPP did vote to, I'm not sure, somebody's probably watching TV at the same time as this and it's echoing here, so let me, okay, I think she muted it. Did go through PPP. There were some questions, some really good comments about process and budget constraints, but this was a position that is budgeted, that's being filled. It was unanimous 3-0 to move to council. To the candidate, hopefully, I do wish and hope that you move to Southbridge, because that's one of the contentions that we want local people to respond. You are very well qualified in this day and age. It's incredible. It's getting a lot tougher to find paramedics and firefighters. So thank you for putting your name forward on that. So
Thank you, Councilor.
Any further comments, questions? Seeing none, roll call.
Councilor Catrona,
Yes.
Councilor Daniel,
Yes.
Councilor Jovan,
Yes.
Councilor Marquetti,
Yes.
Councilor Ryan,
Yes.
Councilor Steves,
Yes.
and Councilor Adams.
Yes.
Congratulations, Robert. Usually we get up, clap, and shake your hand. But congratulations. We I wish you personally a long and successful career here in Southbridge. Look forward to seeing you around.
Thank you, Councilors. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
Yep.
Item 17, vote to confirm the appointment of Brianna Lynn LaFamme as a full-time police officer for the town of Southbridge upon successful completion of all medical and physical testing as required by the Human Resources Civil Service and the completion of the state ethics training. This appointment is effective on the start date of the next available police academy. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Ryan, second by Councilor Adams. Mr. Town Manager, you want me to defer to the police chief on this one as well?
You can, Mr. Chairman. I would just say again, I attended the PPP subcommittee meeting and I heard Chief Woodson's presentation regarding the candidate, Ms. LaFlamme. And I did review her application. She's currently a Southbridge dispatcher and she's a U.S. Marine Corps veteran, and she appears to be fully qualified for the position. At this time, I defer to the chief for further information.
Thank you, Mr. Town Manager. Chief Woodson.
If I could, good evening, everybody. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Town Manager, and members of the Town Council. Mr. Flem's also on tonight if you have any questions. Just for where we're at right now at the police department, we're budgeted for 38 full-time police officers. We had 36 up until today. The 37th police recruit started this morning, the police academy. We hired him way back in, I think, June, and there was no academy available till now. We will not see that gentleman until probably the spring, late spring, early summer. As far as this position tonight, it's again existed budgeted. A police officer for us, Eric Raymond, lateral transferred to a large sheriff's office in Florida for a lifestyle and career change. So with that, we have a vacancy. Mr. Flem, as the town manager already alluded to, is a Marine Corps vet. And with that, she was #1 on eligible candidates on the current civil service list. She lives in Charlton now, but when she took our test, she was a Southbridge resident. She's currently a dispatcher for us also, where she's been for about 3 years now. And, you know, she's been a great employee, so I don't see why she wouldn't make a great police officer. She's taken full-time classes at Worcester State, I mentioned during the PPP meeting. So she's essentially a full-time student, a full-time employee of ours currently, and she takes care of a small child all on her own. So kudos to her. I think she's got great work ethic. At a town council meeting back in October, just for full disclosure, some of you were on the council, some of you were not. She was appointed to fill a full-time position that we had. She was scheduled to attend the academy in February of this year, February 24th. She passed the psych, the medical, the physical fitness test, but she had unexpected medical issues, so she was not able to attend that academy in February. Mr. Flem could have left, you know, law enforcement or policing, but she stayed on with us as a dispatcher. Again, where she still sits with us, does a great job. We bought all her equipment at the time back for the February academy. We're just going to repurpose that so we don't have to spend that money. The $3,000 tuition to attend an academy I had reimbursed to the community, so we'll just have to reissue that check for her tuition. And I think, you know, again, she'd be a great candidate. Otherwise, she wouldn't be here. Look forward to working with her for many years, and I highly recommend her for the position. Just also so the council's aware, she would stay on with us as a dispatcher and work all the way through. I don't expect another academy to happen in the Commonwealth until probably January or February of 2021. So Ms. LaFlamme wouldn't be with us, you know, fall, Thanksgiving-ish of 2021 till you see her on the streets. I highly recommend her.
Thank you, Chief. Questions, comments? Councilor Marquetti.
Well, through you to the town manager, how are we doing with state reimbursements this year? Are we going to have a shortfall because of the COVID pandemic? Are we going to be able to afford to keep hiring people?
Mr. Chairman, through you to Councilor Marquette. My understanding is this is already a budgeted position, and when you're talking about reimbursements, reimbursements for what? CARES Act money, or I'm not sure what you're referring to.
Are we going to receive any money from the state this year?
Right now, my understanding is that we're doing the incremental budgeting, and it's budgeted through October. I heard this morning that Governor Baker is looking to discuss the remaining budget in state aid for the remainder of the year. There was something posted on the MMA at the end of July that they were looking to level fund state aid for the remainder of the fiscal year. It's something that I'm keeping my eye on. I mentioned it to the department heads in a brief department head meeting last week, and I'm looking to meet with all the department heads going forward to discuss contingencies should that not happen. But right now, the indication has been there is going to be level funding of state aid for the balance of fiscal 21. I'm also planning to meet with one of our legislators next week, so I will ask those questions as well at that time.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, this was vetted through PPP, was unanimous 3-0 recommendation to full council. Many conversations about budgeted, as well as good conversations by all councilors with fiscal responsibility and concerns based on the pandemic. I think the one thing that I would say as the regular counselor at that meeting that I commented on is the fact that the timeline it takes to train a police officer and the fact that in order to even get a slot in the academy, we have to put her name forward, and those slots go quickly. So that's the reason we are, my belief was to move this forward so that we don't lose that slot, because we could lose another police officer to another community or something. And the chief has never been fully staffed to my recollection, where he's actually had all 38 working at the same time. Is that not correct, Chief?
That's correct, sir.
Thank you. So with that, any other comments, questions? Roll call.
Counselor Daniel,
Yes.
Counselor Jovan,
Yes.
Counselor Marquetti,
No.
Counselor Ryan,
Yes.
Counselor Steves,
Yes.
Counselor Adams,
Yes.
and Counselor Catrona.
Yes.
Thank you. Congratulations, Brianna. We, like I told the other candidate for the fire department, usually we would stand and congratulate you. So congratulations. We look forward to when you get sworn in. I guess we could, hopefully we'll do that at that point to have you before the council again. But good luck in your career and your continued career as a dispatcher. That is equally a tough job as well. So thank you for all you do in the dispatch center as well. Thank you for being here tonight. Anything else you want to say?
I'm just grateful for the opportunity, excited and motivated for it. So thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Item 18, vote to confirm the appointment of James Cullers as a police auxiliary officer for the town of Southbridge, effective immediately through June 30th, 2023, pending completion of the state ethics training. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Counselor Steve, second by Counselor Adams.
I could again through you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Cullers is a Southbridge resident, and like I had mentioned at the PPP meeting, he completed the 372.5-hour reserve intermittent academy back in June of 2020. And just so the councils that were not there know, this is a 3 nights a week, 4 hours a night, some Saturdays training, all volunteer. The total fees with tuition and equipment and books and things like that comes in around $2,700. That's your own money. That shows one heck of a commitment, not only out of your pocket, but out of your time. He's a United States Navy veteran. He currently holds a top secret clearance for his job as a test engineer in the state of Connecticut. He's held that position for 11 years. I think he brings a lot to our community as an auxiliary. He'd be a great candidate. I highly recommend him. And our current staff right now is about, 22, 23 auxiliaries, and we'd like to keep it at that staffing level. It's no cost to the community. Everything they do is volunteer, and they staff events that we can't afford to cover. Pre-COVID, 4th of July parades, Memorial Day parades, large-scale events, Southbridge Fest. That night before Thanksgiving and on New Year's Eve, the men and women of the auxiliary come in and they augment our staff, and they do a fantastic job. We couldn't do it without them, so I highly recommend it.
Thank you.
And he is on the line tonight also. I apologize, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Cullers, if anybody has any questions, he's on the line.
Thank you. Councilor Adams?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. Just want to add in there that not only is a Navy veteran, he's a retiree, he's the chief of the boat. Not too long ago, before he retired, he's part of the VFW. He is also part of the Agricultural Commission. He's also part of the Veterans Council, Southbridge Veterans Council within our town. So he's, besides his day job, this is the things that he does through the evening as well. So I highly recommend him. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Seeing none, roll call.
Counselor Jovan,
Yes.
Counselor Marquetti,
Yes.
Counselor Ryan,
Yes.
Counselor Steves,
Yes.
Counselor Adams,
Yes.
Counselor Catrona,
Yes.
and Counselor Daniel.
Yes.
Thank you, and congratulations, Jim Cullers. Welcome to the auxiliary, and best of luck. Item 19, vote to ratify the use and execution of the engineering master services agreement to be used to maintain Stantec Consultant Services Incorporated as the airport consultant for a term of 5 years per the recent request for qualifications awarded on June 18th, 2020 to perform work outlined in the capital improvement plan on a project-by-project basis as mutually agreed upon by the town of Southbridge, Mass Department of Transportation, Aeronautics, and the FAA. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Comments, questions? Mr. Town Manager?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, if I may, this agenda item as well as the following one were on the previous meeting's agenda. As you may recall, I believe it was Councilor Stevens had some questions about the fact that there were two separate RFQs, and at that time there was only one master services agreement. The question was posed whether there should be two separate master services agreement and whether they had been reviewed. I see that Rick Clemens is on the line as well. I've corresponded and actually met with Mr. Clemens last week, working in conjunction with Stantec, with his partner on the other end, Mr. Henry. We had those two items split into two separate master services agreement. You have before you in number 19, the engineering master services agreement, and 20 refers to the planning master services agreement. I did review both of those documents. I had some suggestions for Mr. Clements, and he referred them on to Stantec. We did make sure that they refer to the appropriate task order that was in the packet. And I did pull through Mr. Clemens as well as in our office the 2014 Master Services Agreement, and the language in the current documents before you was consistent with the 2014. The boilerplate language in the incorporated document, and also over the weekend reviewing the second time, I noticed there was an omission of the 5-year term on the current respective master services agreements. So at this time, I would ask the board's approval, the council's approval of these respective service agreements with the modification, or let me say this, subject to proper amendment to reflect the 5-year term. So if you notice right now, there is no reference on that front page of either of these service agreements is for a term of 5 years. Mr. Clements has referred that to Stantec's council to make that amendment. We didn't get a copy back in time for this evening. So if the council does approve it, I would just say subject to the amendment to include a reference to a term of 5 years on the respective documents.
Okay, thank you. Questions, comments? Councilor McKay?
First of all, I'd like a clarification on something that was said at the General Government Subcommittee meeting. Someone said that the Airport Commission is a quasi-judicial board, and I don't think that's true. I didn't see it in the town charter. So I just want a clarification on that. Is the Airport Commission quasi-judicial or not?
That I didn't hear I wasn't at that meeting, so I don't know what that was referenced to. Mr. Clement, I know they're an autonomous board and they have control of the airport. I don't know if it's termed a quasi-judicial board, such as Board of Health, but Councilor Steves, you were at that meeting and you're the chairman.
I actually don't recall that phrasing coming up regarding them, but we did talk about them being basically autonomous because of their function. I don't know, I guess through you to Mr. Clements, do you guys actually hold hearings and have authority to issue penalties and things like that? Because if you do, then you are quasi-judicial. I don't know.
We do have in our lease agreements, we do have through you, Chairman, we do on our lease agreements, we have penalties and things like that, but everything we do, we kind of control, the airport and everything that goes on at the airport, but anything that has to do with funding goes through you people. So, we'll set it up. We work with the FAA and the Mass DOT to bring in the funds, the grants, like another item tonight is a grant, but all of that does have to go before the council for approval. So, but through Mass law, Massachusetts law wants they want an airport commission to oversee the airport. So I think I think that might be when you're talking about something a little bit different, because it's an airport, and with Mass DOT and FAA, we do have some different things that we can do where other boards can't.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how that works either, Mr. Chairman. So I don't know if the town manager would know that technical definition of quasi-judicial or not.
Mr. Town Manager?
I have no information. I can research it, but I have little knowledge and experience working with a municipal airport, so I would have to take some time and get back to the council on that.
Well, all I know is that on our town charter, it does not say the airport commission is quasi judicial. So if I could just get a clarification on that, that would satisfy me. Second of all, this agreement now has come back 3 times and there's been something wrong with it every single time. So I'm not prepared to support either of these tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councilor Adams?
Mr. Chair, thank you. I just want to point out that Councilor Dow is now online.
Okay, thank you.
Got it.
Councilor Catrona?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you, I spoke out about this at subcommittee, and I'll certainly reiterate one more time. I'm for either of these agenda items. I'm not in favor of a 5-year, giving a company like Stantec or anyone like this a 5-year MSA. Companies become complacent. Usually the first year might be great, the second, third, and in the 5th year, they'll come back and show us maybe what they can do. I'm not prepared to vote in favor of this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Mr. Clements?
I just make a comment on the 5-year. If we have a termination clause in this contract you have here, it's on page 3. It can be terminated with 30 days written notice. It's an agreement for every time we use this agreement, we have to put a task order or a job together, and that is each job is individual, and we have to go back before you people to spend any kind of funds against that in the task order. So everything gets approved. It gets the chance to go through it. We go through. They're very heavily involved because they're paying into it as well as the FAA. And so every time there is a task that comes before us that we would need one of these master service agreements, we have people that on 3 different, the state and the federal level that are pushing, looking out to make sure that we're getting what we're paid for.
Thank you. Thank you for that clarification, Mr. Clements. I do see it, and it does say be terminated without cause. So at any time, we could terminate this for any reason. It's my understanding. Any further discussion? Councilor Steves?
Yeah, just a quick technical thing, just to make sure that when we do get the final copy of it, that the representative on page 1 is actually Michael McCall, not Ron San Angelo.
That has, my understanding, has been taken care of already.
Okay, good.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call?
Counselor Marquetti?
No.
Counselor Ryan?
Yeah.
Counselor Steves?
Yes.
Counselor Adams?
Yes.
Counselor Catrona?
No.
Counselor Daniel?
Yes.
And Counselor Jovan?
Councilor Dow's on the line now too. You want to include him on the roll call?
Sorry about that. Counselor Dow?
Yes, thank you. Sorry for being late.
That's okay, Council. Yes.
Great.
Motion carries 6-2 with Councilors Marquetti and Catrona opposed. Item 20, vote to ratify the use and execution of the plan and master services agreement to be used to maintain Stantec Consultant Services Incorporated as the airport consultant for a term of 5 years per the recent request for qualifications awarded on June 18th, 2020. Perform work outlined in the capital improvement plan on a project by project basis as mutually agreed upon by the town of Southbridge, Mass Department of Transportation, Aeronautics, and the FAA. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. This is the second contract. Does anybody have any questions to the town manager on the second part? See none. Roll call.
Counselor Ryan?
Yes.
Counselor Steves?
Yes.
Counselor Adams?
Yes.
Counselor Catrona?
No.
Counselor Daniel?
Yes.
Counselor Dow?
Yes.
Counselor Jovan?
Yes.
And Counselor Marquetti?
No.
The motion carries 6-2 with Councilors Catrona and Marquetti opposed. Item 21, vote to accept the AIP, which for the record is the Airport Improvement Program grant from the FAA in the amount of $195,500 for their portion of the feasibility study, preliminary design, and permitting of runway 2-20 reconstruction of airspace and analysis approved by the town council on August 10th, 2020, agenda item 22. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Town manager, do you have anything first? And then we'll go to Mr. Clements.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. As indicated, the grant is in the amount of $195,000 and is listed 500. We have to accept this grant or we lose it by tomorrow at noontime. I have looked at the materials provided. I've talked with Attorney Caprera. He has also reviewed it, and subject to the approval of the council this evening, I will be electronically signing this evening, and Attorney Caprera will be signing it tomorrow morning, indicated that he's reviewed it. The grant does require that counsel for the town does review the grant before it's awarded. He has to sign off on it. So that should address any concerns that it's been reviewed by legal counsel.
Thank you. Councilor Steves.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One quick question through you, I guess, to Mr. Clements probably. In the grant, the project schedule starts in May of 2020. Obviously, that's well past. So is everything just simply going to be pushed back from this date? So we should assume everything's starting as soon as we sign it, basically, and then from here on, everything's going to be pushed until like the middle of winter, more or less.
Yes, talked with John Henry and Stantec, and they already done some preliminary work on this. Just to remind the council, we came about a month and a half ago. We came to you for $10,850 for the same job, same project. The $10,850 is the town's 5%. The state pays 5%, and the federal pays 90%. So this is their 90% portion of that same job. So they started the job. It will run 2 months later, but I think that they should be able to get it done by December.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Questions? Comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Counselor Steves,
Yes.
Counselor Adams,
Yes.
Counselor Catrona,
Yes.
Counselor Daniel,
Yes.
Counselor Dow,
Yes.
Counselor Jovan,
Yes.
Counselor Marquetti,
Yes.
and Counselor Ryan.
Yeah.
Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Clements.
Thank you.
Look forward to hearing the results of that feasibility study.
All right.
Thank you. Item 22, vote to authorize the town council chair to send a letter on behalf of the town council, the National Grid, regarding the response to Hurricane Isaias. I think that's how you pronounce it. August 4th, 2020. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Motion is second. Any discussion? This said, Chief Norman had drafted this letter. I had presented it to the PPP subcommittee. Was reviewed at PP subcommittee. It was recommended to go to full council on town council letterhead. Thank you to the town manager. He had indicated he had already reached out to National Grid on some of these issues, had a contact there, and that information, I believe, is articulated in this letter. So it's our expression of our disappointment into the response in August 4th, 2020. Is there any other discussion? Ms. Town Manager, did you have anything else to add regards to the National Grid contact? I know for the public you had let us know, but conversation that you had.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I did have a call last week with Carl Hartwick from National Grid. I did indicate to him that a letter would be forthcoming from the council regarding the displeasure with the follow-up after the storm Isaias, Hurricane Isaias. We did have a conversation relative to some of the proactive measures that we took in one of the communities that I worked with previously. So Mr. Hartwick indicated he would wait for the letter to arrive. He would review it, and that he and I would get together, reconnect, and start looking at what we can do going forward to foster a better relationship with National Grid and their response. During the subcommittee meeting the other night, Council Marquetti had also indicated that he had taken some complaints relative to National Grid doing a street opening. I did bring that to Mr. Hartwick's attention on Friday afternoon when I did speak with him, and he said he would look into the matter. I gave him the street location, and he said he would get back to me this week. So I did forward both of those issues to Mr. Hartwick.
Thank you. Any other questions? Council Marquetti.
I would just like to follow up that the repair was done on Upper High Street. So thank you very much to you and Heather Blakely for looking into this. The residents were very, very pleased. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for taking care of that, Mr. Manager. Any other discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Counselor Adams,
Yes.
Counselor Catrona,
Yes.
Counselor Daniel,
Yes.
Counselor Dow,
Yes.
Counselor Jovan,
Yes.
Counselor Marquetti,
Yes.
Counselor Ryan,
Yes.
and Counselor Steves.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carries. I will come in tomorrow and sign that so that it can get off to National Grid. Councilors Forum. I'll start with Councilor Dow. Councilor Dow.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you. Sorry, I was a little late. Thank you for
Anything for Councilors Forum?
let me join the meeting. I got a question. I got a text message from residents in town. They closed Henry Street basketball. The kids want to play. I don't know why that was closed. The way it was explained was a little argument between a couple of kids there. I don't think we should take everything from the kids like that. If some problem there, I think we should, I don't know, if we can put a couple of auxiliary police there and keep that field open like this, the kids they can play and enjoy. I mean, they have not much left in town to have fun. And thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Dow. We'll have the town manager look at that. I know it was closed due to the COVID restrictions and we took the basketball hoops up, but I don't know if they actually went back on. So I think we'll have to double check if that was the original conversation. I know the police chief has left, so we can have the town manager look into that for you, Councilor Dow, and report back to the council, okay?
Thank you. I think it was open, just closed recently. They put wood on it and closed it recently. It was open and just somebody closed it recently.
All right. We'll have the town manager take a look at that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Catrona?
Nothing this evening, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Marquetti.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I just want to say that I had forgotten that on the DPW subcommittee, I did schedule an agenda item to talk about the bidding process, as you had asked. So if someone could be there, I don't know if Heather can talk to us about it, but someone with some expertise in the bidding process can be at the subcommittee meeting on September 23rd to talk about how that whole process takes place. I know, Mr. Chairman, you had asked that we do something like that. So I did schedule it and I just failed to mention it tonight. Second of all, I'd just like to welcome the town manager to the town of Southbridge and congratulations. And I wish you the best of luck. I was hoping that you and I could sit down sometime this week, if you have time this week or early next week, to discuss the pavement management study. I know that you had asked me my concerns. I sent that to you. And if you have some time, I'd like to sit down and talk to you about it.
Okay, very good. Offline, I will connect with you, Councilor Marquetti. The balance of this week may be tough, but I think we could probably arrange something Tuesday or Wednesday of next week.
All right, thank you. Yep. And that's all.
Thank you.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Ryan?
Nothing this evening, but to welcome the town manager and look forward to working with him.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Steves?
I have nothing this evening either, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Counselor Steve. That's a first, I think, Counselor Steve. Nothing?
I've had occasionally had nothing, but not very often.
Okay. Counselor Adams?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. Just a couple of things. I just want to reiterate what the chair mentioned tonight about the open meeting law. I will send Yvonne an attachment with the COVID-19 order number 46 from the governor, along with the Attorney General's guidance on holding meetings during the COVID-19 state of emergency, which clearly states what's required of each board or any type of open meeting. I want to welcome the town manager. I said it the other night at the planning development, but town council, welcome aboard, Michael. And I want to wish this coming Friday, the Air Force turns 73 years old. So happy birthday to you guys. Sorry.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Daniel?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. Once again, this evening, the council is privileged to appoint citizens to committees. We appointed another and positions within the employee of the town. We appointed another 7 people tonight. It seems to me that in my short tenure on the council, going on 3 years into the 3rd year, that we've done pretty well this year in terms of getting committees filled. But there's still a need. There's always a need, it seems. People leave for various reasons. That creates vacancies. And I just ask the citizens out there to, again, keep up with us, keep informed, call the town manager's office, ask to see where the vacancies are, see if there's something that fits your interest, and please consider volunteering your time to help us out. It's always welcome, and it helps the town to run better. You know, new blood, fresh ideas, all good for the town. So I sincerely ask you to consider joining us here in town government. And that's all I have. The next regularly scheduled town council meeting is scheduled for Monday, September 28th, 2020.
Thank you, Counselor. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. I'll go. Counselor Steves moved it. Counselor Adams second. Roll call.
Counselor Adams?
Yes.
Counselor Catrona?
Yes.
Counselor Daniel?
Yes.
Counselor Dow?
Yes.
Counselor Jovan?
Yes.
Counselor Marquetti?
Yes.
Counselor Ryan?
Yes.
And Counselor Steves?
Yes.